Welcome to Data Analytics and BI. In this tutorial, we are going to discuss about what is data warehouse and a few database concepts. Before we directly jump into the join concepts, data modeling concept, we need to know some theory part. So try understanding the concept. This concept is very important when you work on this concept is important throughout all the databases. Whatever the database you take, SQL database, Oracle database, IBM database, PostGRE, so whatever the database it is. So the concept remains same throughout all the databases and also in the data modeling concept. So before we directly jump into the primary key, foreign keys, data modeling concept, joins, four types of important joins. So in Power BI, we have six types of joins. So let us understand few concepts. The first and foremost concept is warehouse. What is a warehouse? For example, so we ordered something from Flipkart or Amazon. So when we order the product, that product stays somewhere in Delhi or in Mumbai or somewhere else. So when we order that product is shipped to our nearest place. So for example, if we are in Hyderabad, so that product need to come from Delhi. So from Delhi warehouse, okay, wherever the products are there, from Delhi warehouse, so those products will get into Hyderabad, and from there it will be delivered to the our nearest our address. So it would be like 3 to 5 days. So that takes. So what is a warehouse? A building where a company or enterprise stores the raw material or finished goods. So in the simple example, storeroom in our house. So whatever the unused products that we have, whatever the unused materials or unused products, so what do? We store it in, we throw or we store it in the pantry or in the storeroom. Let us take one small example, Swiggy Instamart. So what happens in the Swiggy Instamart? So that we regularly see in Hyderabad. So whichever we are in the locality of JNTU or Miyapur. So within 10 to 15 kilometers of the diameter, so we have the warehouse. So what is that warehouse? Instamart, Swiggy Instamart, Zepto, Blinkit, or Big Basket. So what do? What happens in there? So they maintain a warehouse. What is a warehouse? A building where the company stores the materials. So they maintain some warehouse. That warehouse has all the products, whatever the product that we use from morning to till evening. For example, we woke up in the morning and we are running out of milk. So what did we do? We opened Swiggy Instamart to order the milk to have some coffee. And also we are running out of the coffee powder. So we see when we search for the milk, so we get different types of vendors. So different types of milk products with high fat content, low fat content, high calories, low calories, with a lot of milk. So different milk products. And also if you take the coffee, so we have different coffee products. So those products are available. So what do? We just select those products. So out of all the milk products available, so I like which has good amount of fat content. So I would like to have it the good milk. So I ordered that. So the Instamart they get the trigger, and from there the delivery partner is assigned, and from there the product is picked up and it is delivered within 10 to 15 minutes. Okay. So like that, in the in the warehouse, okay, in the warehouse, what is a warehouse? General term. So we see the cold storages in the cities. For example, when the farmers grow the fruits and vegetables, what do? They give the fruits and vegetables. Those fruits and vegetables are stored in the warehouse in the cold storage. So when there is a requirement of the fruits and vegetables, so they transport it to the nearest cities or nearest villages. So that is a warehouse. We also see the cold storages, making of the ice creams or some other. So like that. So what is a data warehouse? So data from different sources are stored in the centralized data repository, which can be queried for the business benefits. What is a data warehouse? Data from different sources are stored in centralized data repository. So the way the warehouse, the Swiggy Instamart warehouse maintains the products of different vendors. So here also the data from the different sources are stored in the centralized data repository. So here if you see the data of the CRM, billing data, ERP, flat files, .csv, .text, .pdf. So different data sources are stored in the data warehouse by using the ETL tool, extraction, transformation, and loading of the data. And the data is stored in the data warehouse. And from the data warehouse, we can get the data into reporting, into the analytics, and also into the data mining. So this is data warehouse. So there are four stages in the data warehouse. The first and foremost stage is collect. What is collect? Collect means search the data from the source system, fetch data from the source system in its raw form, and store in the layer called as a staging layer. This process is done by ETL process. What is ETL? Extraction, transformation, and loading of the data. So there are different types of ETL tools: Informatica, SSIS, SAP Data Services, and many more. And the second stage is storing the data. Once the data is collected, the second stage is storing the data. And the third stage is what kind of analyze. So in the SQL server or in any other servers, so what do we do? What kind of analysis can be find out, or we can find? Okay, what kind of insights can be found out of the data, and analysis can be done on the data. Okay, this is analyze. And the next one is consume, the stage where the data can be visualized in the last stage. Various data visualization tools such as Power BI, Tableau, and other BI tools are used for data analysis and data visualization to make the business decisions. So these are all the four stages in data warehouse. And the next one is there are few characteristics for data warehouse. Okay, there are four characteristics in data warehouse. The first and foremost character is integrated. Okay, first and foremost character is integrated. What is the general meaning of integrate? Combine. The general English meaning of the integrate is combine. So what is integrated? A data warehouse integrates various heterogeneous data sources. Homogeneous means same. Heterogeneous means different data sources like RDBMS, flat files, and online transaction records. It requires performing data cleaning, okay, data integration during the data warehouse to ensure consistency in naming conventions, attribute types among different data sources. So when the data is collected in the raw format, so what do they need to do in the integration? The data should be cleaned. So the data cleaning take place and the data is combined into a single format, that is integrated. Second character is time variant. What is a time variant? Analysis can be done on the basis of date and time. Time dimension comes into picture. Why time dimension is important? So we know that a year has 365 days, 12 months, and 4 quarters. Each quarter contains 3 months, and each month has 30 days on an average and 4 weeks. So, for example, the transaction happened on the last week or yesterday. So the date is noted down or the transaction time is noted down so that we can make the analysis based on the time variant. What was the last year sales? What is this year sales? What was the last quarter sales? What is this quarter sales? This is time variant. Third character is non-volatile. So volatile means temporary, non-volatile means permanent. So whatever the data comes into data warehouse, that data is permanent. It remains static, does not change. For example, if there was a transaction of 5,000 rupees, and in the future you can't go inside the data warehouse and change that 5,000 transaction into 1,000 transaction. So the data is permanent. The next one is subject oriented. What is a subject oriented? So we will not be working on the global organization's data. So the data is subject oriented. So the data is divided into customer data or the product data, sales data, instead of working on the global organization's data. This can be done by excluding data that are not useful concerning the subject. So this is subject oriented. So these are all the four stages and four characteristics of data warehouse. So now let us discuss about what is relational database. Okay, what is relational database? For example, we would like to establish a company like e-commerce company, so just like Flipkart, Amazon. So we would like to establish. So the database manager reached, and we have reached database manager, and so I said, okay, this is what my idea. So what the database manager or any manager, what he would suggest is what kind of a data that you would like to have, what kind of a data that you want to maintain. Okay. So I said that, okay, we are dealing with the e-commerce. So first and foremost thing is that we need to have the products data. Okay. The first table is the product data. So why product data? Because the product data, the product table should contain all the information about the products. And the second table is customer table. So who are all the customers buying what kind of a product? So the customer table contains the customer information, customer ID, customer name, customer address, customer age, customer mobile number. So that is customer table. And the next one is employee table. So who are all the employees working in the organization? And the fourth table is order table. So what kind of orders did they take, did they get? What is the quantity? What is the price? What is the sales amount? Shipping price, charges, taxes, and all. So a relational database is a type of database that organize the data into tables. Okay, what is a relational database? Relational database is one of the most important database that is being used by the most of the organizations in the world. Why? In the relational database, the data is organized in the form of tables. What table contains? The table contains columns and rows. And these tables are linked through primary key and foreign keys. Okay. So which the tables are connected through the relationships. Each table contains rows, records, and columns, fields, and the data can be linked across tables using keys such as primary key and foreign key. This structure allows easy retrieval and management of the related data. Okay, that is what a relational database. And understand the business needs. Okay, once we understood the business, so till now we have understood what is the business needs. And after that, we need to define the entities or the tables. Okay, yes, we have defined the customer table, product table, employee table, order table. Yes, that's well and good. And after that, what is the information that we need to put it in all these tables? So we need to define the properties or the columns or the fields. Yes, I have defined the properties or the fields. And what is the next step? So if I want to know about which customer bought what kind of a products and how many products, how many, what is the quantity and what is the price. So if I want to know about this, we need to have the relation between these tables, define relationship. So how the relationship is made? Customer ID from the customer table is in relation with customer ID in the order table, product ID, employee ID, and employee ID. So the relationships are made based on the primary key and foreign key. Okay. So now let us discuss about what is dimension table and what is fact table. What is dimension table and what is fact table? So the table, okay, the table is divided into two types. The first and foremost thing is that dimension table. And the second table is fact table. What is a dimension table? You understand the concept. It is very important. The dimension table is, the dimension table contains descriptive information. Dimension table contains descriptive data or textual information. Textual information that is used, that is used for the fact table. For the fact table. What is a dimension table? Dimension table contains descriptive information or textual information that is used for the fact table. So it has the questions like when, where, what, and why. What is the example? Customer table is the best example for the dimension table. Product table is the best example for dimension table. Okay, this is dimension table. What is a fact table? Okay, what is a fact table? Fact table contains the complete transactional information. Complete transactional information. Okay, what is the example? Unit sold, quantity, price, amount, sales, revenue. So these are all the information about the fact table. So dimension table contains primary key. Primary key. Fact table contains foreign key. Foreign key. Let us go through one example. Okay, let us go through one example. So let me take the data customer table. Customer table. So customer table contains customer ID, customer name, customer address. For example, let me customer ID. What does the customer table or the dimension table contains? Primary key. Okay. What is a primary key? Primary key is used for uniquely identifying the record. Okay. Uniquely, it is used for uniquely identification of the record. Each record or each row contains a primary key, which means that row is unique. Okay, it is used for identifying the row uniquely. Okay, customer ID 001 is the customer ID. Customer name is, let me go for Asif and Saudi. Okay, 002 customer ID, customer name Irshad, and it is Hyderabad. So Somnath 003 Somnath Hyderabad. 004 Supriya Hyderabad. For example, so the customer ID, what I did. So customer ID is unique. For example, we have logged into Amazon. So first time we have logged in. I mean, we signed in. So what we get, okay, welcome. So you are called by the name, but in the backend, you are called by the ID. Okay, you are called by the ID. So let me go for product table. Okay, what does the product table contain? Product ID, product name, and product inventory. So where this product is coming from. Product is P001, P001. Product name is AC. Product inventory is Delhi. For example, it is coming from Delhi. P002, iPhone, and it is Chennai, for example. P003, iPad, and it is coming from some Hyderabad, for example. Okay. So let us go for taking the fact table. Okay, transaction table, fact table. So in the fact table, what happens in the fact table? So we will have the foreign keys. Okay, what is the foreign key? Customer ID, product ID, transaction ID, okay, order ID. So we have a quantity and the price. Okay. For example, today customer ID 001 ordered. For example, today customer ID 001 ordered. 001 ordered P001 product, and the transaction is T001. order ID is 0001 and the quantity is 1 and the price is 200, for example. Today the customer 001 ordered some product. Okay. So if you see the customer ID is 001 Asif Saudi, it is the address. Tomorrow, okay, tomorrow, the same customer, he ordered some other product. Okay. P002, T002, O002, and 1, and the price is $300. Okay. But when the customer is trying to order, when you order, for example, you open Amazon, and when you try ordering the product, you will not be getting your name entered again and again in the Amazon. So you will not see that, okay, the customer, one more customer is ordered, the same customer is ordered. So it doesn't get the duplicate information. Okay, you understand the concept. And one more customer is ordering 002. Irshad is ordering something and it doesn't get the duplicate. Because why the customer table or the dimension table does not get any duplicate values or duplicate records means it has the primary key. What is a primary key? Primary key is used for identifying each and every record uniquely. Okay. Whereas foreign key, okay, in the transaction table can have multiple related records. Okay. The transaction table can have multiple related records because the transaction table contains the foreign key. Foreign key can have multiple related records. Foreign key can have multiple transaction information. Tomorrow again, day after tomorrow. So the same customer tried ordering the same product. So same product with a different transaction and the order ID changes automatically. 3 and the quantity is 2 and it is $500. So the customer can order multiple times. So this is primary key and foreign key. Okay. So how do we define primary key, foreign key? In SQL, we define by using the concept called as constraints. Okay. What constraints do we have? Primary key is a constraint. Foreign key is a constraint. Foreign key is a constraint. Not null is a constraint. So by this constraint, we define the column data type and constraint so that in the future, when someone try to enter the duplicate, for example, so someone tried entering 003, the duplicate customer name with a duplicate transaction. No, it won't take because it is already defined. In order to overcome the duplicated data, in order to overcome the nulls or the duplicated data, we have come up with a concept called as primary key and foreign key. Okay, what is a dimension table? A dimension is a table that contains descriptive textual information used to provide context to data. In a fact table, it answers who, what, where, and when questions. For example, customer table is a dimension table because it describes customer details like name, location, and age. So these are all the dimension data. And what is a fact table? A fact is a table that contains numerical data, typically representing business transactions or performance metrics. It holds quantitative values like sales, revenue, or units sold, and is linked to dimension tables to provide context. So this is fact table. So now what do we have? We have the schema. Okay, what do we have? We have the schema. A schema in a database is a structure that defines how data is organized. Okay, what is a schema? Schema is a structure. How do we want to organize the data? How do we want to organize the tables? It includes the tables, relationships, and rules for sorting and accessing the data. Think of a blueprint or plan for how data is arranged in the database. So this is a schema. There are two types of schemas. First schema is a star schema, and the second schema is snowflake schema. What is a star schema? The schema, Okay, the star schema, it is named because it is in the shape of star. The fact table is surrounded by the dimension table is called as a star schema. Okay, if you see revenue table is the table which contains the dealer ID, model ID, and branch ID, date ID, unit sold, revenue. This is in a relation with dealer ID in the dealer table, branch ID in the branch table, product ID in the product table, and date ID in the date table. So this is the reason why the fact table is surrounded by the dimension table and they are linked through the primary and foreign key is called as a star schema. So this is star schema. And the next schema is snowflake schema. What is a snowflake schema? So it is like the dimension table contains another dimension. The dimension table is linked to another dimension table. If you see the example, so dealer, so the dealer is linked to other two tables called as a location and country by location ID and country ID. So this schema is called as snowflake schema. Okay, this schema is called as a snowflake schema. The dimension table is linked with another dimension table. Then this is called as a snowflake schema. And the product is also linked to variant. So this is snowflake schema. Why it is named as a star schema and snowflake schema? Because star schema, it is in the shape of star. So that is the reason it is named as a star schema. It is in the shape of snow. So that is the reason it is called as a snowflake schema.